I won my 86. Static in the wire, power in the vein, plugging in the jack just to numb the brain. 010, yeah.
Look around you. The world isn't as quiet as they want you to believe. In the dead of night, the shadows stretch, the frequencies warp, and the truly bizarre leaks into reality. You've seen things you can't explain. You've heard the whispers in the woods, witnessed the lights dancing in the upper atmosphere, and felt your hair stand up when you thought you were completely alone. Stop keeping it to yourself. Welcome to the Electric Circus. Your hosts, the Joker and Drax, are unlocking the phone lines and pulling back the curtain on the absolute unknown. This isn't a lecture. This is your platform. We want the raw, unfiltered truth. I don't think it's human. It's standing right outside my window. From skinwalker encounters to shadow figures to UFO cover-ups and cryptids stalking the tree lines. If it's odd, unexplainable, or downright terrifying, we're asking for you to call us live. No judgment, just the truth. The studio line will be wide open. The Joker's wild, so smile and dial! Punch the numbers and save them in your phone. Call 386-227-7284. That is 386-227-7284. His Majesty's madness gives all things strange and weird a home. Break the silence. Tell the Joker and Drax what you saw before the signal goes dead.
So you care about the safety of children and their lives, right? Well, listen to this. In 1958, 92 children and 3 teaching nuns died in a fire at Our Lady of the Angels School in Chicago. It led to a nationwide reform of fire safety in schools. Since then, not one child has died from a school fire. The same principle should be applied today. The issue of school shooters is still a problem.
Off a gunman shooting down at these students.
As, of course, we now learn about even more school shootings.
And our Brittany Ehrman found they aren't building schools like they used to for this very reason.
The definition of school safety in today's day and age previously had not yet been defined.
With Minnesota-based 3D Response Systems.
One of the pushbacks we hear is we don't want our schools to look like a prison. In reality, our system is completely hidden so you don't lose that learning environment feel.
3D Response Systems is a multi-layered design to get the police there faster and provide tools for the people inside to survive.
I went there as a skeptic. I'm not a skeptic any longer.
Why isn't this in every school?
Because the loss of even one child's life is one too many.
But let's get this word out and make sure that we support folks like Representative Hudson and 3D Response System. And wherever you are, whatever state you're in, go talk to your school board, go talk to your state representative. Tell them about this.
For information, or if you would just like to help, download our info sheet PDF located under the Systems
The
tab.
3D Response Systems design will provide safe spaces and a rapid response from first responders.
We should install in every school, public and private.
Kick in the door. Texas bitch, hear the crowd commit. Texas bitch, get off your ass. Texas bitch, or get hit. Texas bitch, raise your fist. Texas bitch, welcome to the pit. Texas bitch, get in the pit.
There you go, Mr. John. It's all you, bub.
All right. Thank you, Joker, and thanks everybody for coming again for hopefully what's going to be season 1, episode 2 of Roll Call. As you can see right now, I am solo. Jason has 3D business to take care of, so hopefully he'll be here not too long, and you can look at him for a little bit. But until then, you're stuck with me. So anyway, yeah, Joker, thanks again. Thanks for everybody for showing up, and hopefully we'll have a little bit better show than we had last week. So tonight, one of the things that I wanted to dive into, and Jason, when he gets here, he's going to kind of spin off from what I'm going to be talking about. But last year, I was approached by a deputy sheriff that currently serves as a board of commissioner with a county near me. And what I was told was that the school district that I ended up speaking to, and then another school district down on the east coast of North Carolina, had come across or come up with some money, and they were looking at what they could do for school security. So they started looking into AI weapon detection. And there's a big back and forth with AI, what it's capable of, what it's not capable of, cost of it. Years 3 or 4 years before now, we've been hearing how much AI has an energy demand and so on, and how are we going to support that with our current electrical infrastructure? So all this has come together. So when I was asked to come to this meeting January of last year, I was asked to come as an alternative, 3D Response being the alternative to the AI weapon detection system. And one of the big arguments and the pushback was with this particular system, and I'm not going to name any companies for obvious reasons, but with this particular system that they wanted to go with, it was going to be doing facial recognition, license plate recognition. There's a bunch of other stuff that it could do, man down recognition, smoke detection, stuff like that. Well, obviously the parents didn't want their child's face being recorded, especially with AI. One of the big concerns was all this data being stored in the cloud. We all know that anything can be hacked into and compromised. I know here several months ago, we used our school systems here, use a system called Power School. They had a big data breach, and it was just a big fiasco. But anyway, the argument was we don't want our kids' face in their personal information stored on the cloud. So the company comes back and says, well, we can turn that off. Well, then another argument was why do you need license plate readers? So the argument was, well, we don't want, I'm not going to use the actual word, but the S offender registry. What a lot of people don't realize with those registries and the people that's on those registries is not everybody is prohibited from being around a park or a playground or even a school for that matter. It's up to the judge when they go to court what their limitations are, what they can and cannot do, where they can and cannot go. So it's not a broad stroke with the paintbrush as far as that goes. But the argument was we don't want license plate readers picking this stuff up. And I can see both sides of the argument. So there was a lot of pushback on it. So one of the things, so they had a representative from this particular company show up, and he did speak. Some really good questions came about, and at that particular time, I was new to the AI weapon detection aspect as it relates to school security, but I did learn a lot, and since then, it has now become my bread and butter. I love digging into this stuff, and it is mind blowing. So, if any of you that are watching, if your school district is looking at possibly going with AI weapon detection, get you a legal pad, a pen, pencil, whatever, and write some stuff down and do your own research. That's what I've done, and it's mind blowing. So, what I found, number one, was the AI weapon detection systems that are out there now, to date, will not pick up a concealed weapon. I know that a lot of the school shootings that have happened, the weapon has been visible where it possibly could have picked it up. Recently, if you go back and look at the shooting that happened at Antioch High School in Tennessee, what was a year and a half ago, that particular weapon system did not pick the weapon up, ending that the kid walked by a couple of cameras several different times, and I may be off on the number here, but around 6, 7 times, and it never picked up the weapon. And that's how the shooter was able to do what the shooter did. So when they start digging into this, it has now come out because there's a lawsuit against the company from one of the students who survived the shooting, was that the excuse is that the person with the firearm was too far away from the camera. You can see the person in the camera, but the camera does not put the marker around the weapon. They're saying they were too far away. Looking at the camera view, I can't tell how far away they are, but my own personal opinion, they were within a distance that it should have picked it up if it was going to pick it up. Nonetheless, it did not pick it up. The shooting happened, and now the AI weapon system company is being sued along with the school district. So it has failures. It has flaws. It's going to fail. It has failed. It's going to give false alerts. Last year, there was 4 football players, high school football players up in, I believe it was Maryland. They had football practice, and they were waiting on their ride to come pick them up. One of the kids went to the snack machine and got a bag of Doritos and walked over to the picnic table with his 3 other friends, and they sat down and are waiting on their ride to appear. The next thing you know, they've got 4 or 5 police officers coming around the corner with their weapons drawn, pointing at all the students, telling them to put their hands up, and then they start looking for a gun. And everybody's saying, we don't have a gun. There's no gun here. We're waiting on our ride. So one of the officers, and the video's out there on YouTube, but one of the officers pulls up the video from the AI weapon detection on his cell phone, and you can clearly see the kid holding a Doritos bag. Actually, I think it was Cool Ranch Doritos. So you can clearly see it's a Doritos bag. What it alerted to was the way the kid was holding the bag. He was holding it as if you would be holding a firearm. It was not a firearm. It was a damn Doritos bag. So he goes over to the trash can, pulls out a Doritos bag, holds it up to his phone, and says, "Yep, this is it." It alerted on a Doritos bag. And even the officers make some comments as to just how reliable the system is. So anyway, one of the things that I also learned in this meeting, going back to that, is not only is there obviously an upfront cost, but there's an annual subscription cost. The cost that was quoted January of last year to this particular county commissioners and to the school board, which that meeting was the following Monday, was about $120,000 a year annual subscription. And what that's supposed to cover is the software updates and stuff like that. So you've got ongoing costs just to have the system functioning. So in all this, I'm finding out when I'm doing my research. So I had talked to a gentleman. He's got his own company, but he serves, maybe serves not the word, but he is called a lot of times as an expert witness in school shootings. So I was talking to him about it, about some legal aspects of it, and we'll get into that here in just a minute. But anyway, one of the things that he brought to my attention was that one particular school shooting, not Tennessee, it was a different one. And he couldn't tell me the name of the school for legal reasons, so I'm not going to say the name because I don't know. I have a good idea, but I'm not going to know. The AI software can either be installed on each camera, or the AI software can be installed on the main hub, which is housed there within the school. So it is my understanding that at this particular school, the AI software had been installed on individual cameras. So after the shooting, when they go back and they start doing their investigation, the question arose, well, why didn't this camera pick up the weapon? And so they start doing a little bit more digging. And I don't know if it come from the company or if it come from the school district, but it came out that this AI software, the AI weapon detection software, had not been installed on that particular camera. So one of the complaints on the civil lawsuit, and he called it this, is false sense of security. The students' parents had a false sense of security because they were under the impression that every camera had AI weapon detection software. Knowing what we know now, we don't know that it would have picked it up, but we do know that it didn't pick it up, obviously because it didn't have the software on it. So they're being sued for that. Why they didn't install it on every camera, I can only speculate, which is what I'll get into now. What I have found out is, going back to the energy demand for AI, it is, to me, it is mind-blowing at how much energy these systems require. So going back to whether the software is installed on the camera or the mainframe or the main hub within the school, it drastically increases the energy consumption usage for each school. In doing a FOIA request for a school that is near me, I think they have around 1,500 students. It was going to, if you done the software being installed on each camera, it was going to increase the energy bill by about $80,000 a year. That is per school. And that was based on, I don't know how many cameras they have, but I think I used the round number of 100. So it was basically going to increase it that much. If the software is installed on the main frame, it's about a 12 to 13% energy increase. So it was going to be substantially more. So you take that, and it's like my county has 89 schools, and that's public schools. That's elementary, middle, and high school. So 89 schools, and let's just use that same number, 100 cameras per school. When I put the numbers together and you try to come up with a cost analysis as to how much more AI weapon detection was going to cost, and put more strain on already strained school budget, it was going to increase it. Got it written here on the low end of about $28,000 a year, on the high end up to $320,000 a year. And that's on a $15 million budget just for energy for all the schools. So, I know here where I'm at, there's been, if people know where I'm at, or have done any kind of looking on the news and whatnot, they'll know that my particular school district, this is public information, last year in the beginning was at a $46 million deficit. Yeah, $46 million deficit. So they weeded through that. they have accounted for some of the money, but anyway, they ended up laying off over 300 teachers and staff members. So anyway, what my point is that every school district is having issues with school budgets. So when you add, this ongoing cost, not only the subscription cost for, these said systems, but just the energy demand. And to break that down even more, where I'm at, and Joker, if you can put up that little thing from Duke Energy, I could probably explain it a little more so people can understand it. But for a school, Duke Energy, which is where I'm at now, and my picture's in front of that if you want to. There we go. So for a school, it's 67 cents per square foot for electricity. So if you take that, here's the breakdown. So the current power budget's $172,500. That's per school per month. So then you do, and I had misprinted here or mistyped. It's supposed to be 89 schools, but that number is correct. So for 80 schools, it's $15,352. Or I'm sorry, $15,352,500. That's a year. So when you put in the AI weapon detection system, on the low side, it's 50 cents per camera, or it can be as high as $3 per camera. You can see the monthly increase can go anywhere from $4,000 to $24,000. On the $3, it can go anywhere from the 24 to the 288, depending on the cameras, depending on the way the software is installed, what it's looking for. There's a lot of variables when these people are setting these things up, which is also has to do, or the power consumption has a lot to do with that as well. They can set minimum standards and it's not going to pull as much power, but they can put it, like where it's going to pick up pretty much anything or alert on anything that's going to hit on the high side. So anyway, over to the right in the middle, you see the total increase in budgets, anywhere from $48,000 to $288,000 additional. So that's what school districts are looking at. And what blows my mind is that these people that are supposed to be in education are not looking into the ongoing costs. They're only looking at, hey, this is AI, so it's got to be great. If you go back and just Google AI weapon detection failures, you're going to find exactly what I found. All of the stuff that I'm talking about is public information. You just got to know where to find it and how to find it. They're not looking at the annual subscription cost, or if they are, they're not telling the taxpayers. They're not telling every one of you that is watching this. They're not saying, hey, we may need more money next year. Another county beside of me, they installed 2 years ago an AI weapon detection. We even done a presentation with them. They was like, no, we've already, it was pretty much said, you're a little bit too late to the show. We appreciate it, but you're late. We've already spent the money on this. And just 4 months ago, they went to the Board of Commissioners and asked them for, I think it was $3 million. And the best I understood was the majority of that was for the school security part. So where does this money come from? It comes from the taxpayers. And, so the ongoing cost is basically going to, it's, you put this kind of money into a system like this, it's hard to say, well, we're going to disconnect it when you put this much money into it. So what do? Do you keep paying it? It's kind of like your cable bill. There's particular one company that provides cable and internet here where I live, and for a long time they've had the monopoly on that. So it's nothing for them to go up, because it's like, hey, what am I going to do? I've got to either pay it or I've got to disconnect it. So the same analogy here. So, and you're talking about supposedly kid safety. But going back to the reliability of it, it has failed. there's been lawsuits. There's been a multiple number of lawsuits. Even the FCC filed a lawsuit on one of the companies for false advertising. And that's basically where this other company is now. So, like I said a few minutes ago, if you're in a school district or you see that, your school district is looking into this and you know somebody, the decision makers, they really need to do their own homework. And there's no pun intended. They need to do their own homework on what they're getting into, because this stuff can be very, very costly. And, on the computer side of it, this particular county where I went and spoke, they were looking at Dell to provide the hardware as far as the computer and the storage and stuff like that. Well, one of the commissioners asked them and said, "Well, what's the lifespan, of this main hub, this data storage tower?" Is basically what it is. What's the life expectancy of it? And a couple of people of you on here that are computer savvy know that you buy a computer today and hell, tomorrow it's probably outdated. But they're saying 3 years. 3 years, you need to be looking at upgrading your hardware, your hard drives, your fan motors, whatever the case may be. So then you're looking at ongoing costs there. It's a rabbit hole that these school districts are having to keep dumping money in, and the taxpayers aren't aware of it. And to be perfectly honest with you, the school administrators, if they're aware of it, they're doing a damn good job at hiding it, but they're not talking about it if they know about it. So, that's one of the things I've learned, just talking about the AI weapon detection. One of the other things is one of these particular companies are using an off-site monitor, a human being. And it was like one of the videos I watched, just like, humans are subject to error. What happens if you have an error and you're talking about the safety of a kid? If somebody says, "Oh, it's alerted on a fire alarm," and then they go back and they look at the video, which is going to take some time, they go back and look at the video, see what it alerted on, and they're looking at it and they say, "Yeah, that's a fire alarm." They get out there, pull the kid to the side by with him looking down the barrel of a police firearm. Say, "Hey, where's the rifle at?" The kid's like, "I ain't got a rifle." He's like, "Yeah, you got a rifle right here. It is." He's like, "Officer, that's my clarinet." And that's a true story. The kid walked in with the clarinet in his hand, and the way he was holding it, the AI weapon detection system alerted to a rifle. And even a human looked over that video and said, "Yep, it's a rifle." Another video, the kid was walking down the sidewalk outside of the school. It alerted to a long gun. So they get out there, can't find anybody, find the student, can't find the weapon on him. They go back and look at the video, and what they found is because of the way the sun was at that particular time and the way he walked, it was the shadow of a drainage ditch. But the way it looked on camera, it looked like a firearm. The AI weapon system alerted to a firearm. Kid didn't have anything on it. He was just walking down the sidewalk. So, and then you get into, the legal aspect of it. And Jason and I have talked about this. If AI alerts to a weapon on a kid and an officer goes to confront the kid, and let's just say it's one of those defiant kids that he has no respect for law enforcement, and he wants to get into a little tussle and he ends up getting hurt. Well, he comes to find out he don't have a weapon on him. You go to court because there's a lawsuit, and then his attorney is like, "Well, officer, what gave you, probable cause to search my client?" "A computer." Okay. Well, then you get into the Sixth Amendment. You have a right to confront your accuser. How the hell are you going to, confront a computer? You can't. So then you also get into the Fourth Amendment stuff. So,
Hi.
With AI. So my thing is just dig into it, and at the end of the day, we're not 3D. We're not 3D. We're not AI. We're not metal detectors. Our stuff is static, and you don't have to worry about false alerts and whatnot.
Sorry, I wanted to. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah.
You guys talk about the drones yet?
No, I was just talking about the AI and the cost.
No. You know about that stuff more than me. Joker, hey, how are you? Sorry I'm late. Sent you a video on a little clip, a news article on the latest craze and phase in technology, which is drones responding to guns in schools. Can you play that real quick? I think it'd be a good
I
discussion.
don't have a clue where you put it.
I texted it.
When?
About an hour ago.
Oh. Well, give me time to get it up. I'll be back.
No problem. But anyway, hey, Lisa, and everybody else following along here. But so Texas and Colorado and a couple other states decided to put drones in their schools, and these drones are controlled at this company's headquarters in Texas. And basically, they fly the drone to the suspect, and the article will kind of explain it. And I had quite a few red flags with protecting our children with that concept in mind, and also a police response to apprehend the suspect with the way this thing is deployed and the way it's flown, and the obvious errors and hiccups I see. Hopefully, Joker can find that video and you guys can see, and we can kind of break it down. But go back 2 years ago, AI was the flavor of the month, and everybody thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. And now drones are the next best thing since sliced bread. And I think these companies are just trying to make a buck and throw something expensive at a school district. And these people that make decisions thinks, they base their decisions on that looks cool and not that will save a life. And that's another angle in this. So I think he found the video. Go ahead.
School security, we've learned, could reach some new heights for one University Park school. Our JD Miles shows us how a new tool from a security company could track down and security, we've learned, could reach some new heights for one University Park school. Our JD Miles shows us how a new tool from a security company could track down and take out active shooters.
You're looking at what an Austin company says are the future first responders to active school shooters. These drones can navigate stairs and hallways, drop pepper spray or flashbangs, and even collide into a gunman if necessary, according to Campus Guardian Angel CEO Justin Marston.
So our goal is we get cued because a teacher presses a button on an app or they hit a silent panic button. And then all of the video cameras and a map of the school comes up in our op center. And from that moment, our goal is to respond in 5 seconds, to find and be on the shooter in 15 seconds.
Marston's company offered a demonstration of his technology at an elementary school in University Park, where Highland Park ISD Police Chief Mark Rowden was one of those watching.
What we saw tonight was impressive. There are things there that we could use. We will be looking at what we can do with this in the future and how we can incorporate something like this in what we do.
The school shooting in Uvalde and the war in Ukraine both provided the company's founders with the idea of responding to active shooters with drones, which are controlled by pilots wearing headsets inside a control center at the company's headquarters in Austin.
One Texas school district already plans to adopt the security system, which the company says, after purchasing the equipment, will cost about $4 per month per student.
The drones can break windows. And even if one goes down, there are others that are all designed to deploy quickly enough to take down the target within 1 minute.
Anywhere where there's a security guard and anywhere there's somebody carrying a gun going into harm's way, here's close air support for you.
The company is visiting school districts across the state to gauge the interest in investing in security measures that they hope will never be needed. In University Park, JD Miles, CBS News, Texas.
I'm sorry, I've got to know.
Okay, so here's where I get a little frustrated. Number one, these technology companies, whether it's artificial intelligence or drones, they get national coverage because of this technology, and they basically get free marketing It goes back to last week's conversation when I was talking about Moms Demand Action and even getting the news to do a story on us and learning what we learned, what we know now with how involved the media is on this topic. Information is being suppressed and the information they want you to see is being pushed out there. I have no doubt in that. Number two, if you look at this from a tactical point of view, I can tell you that a 12 gauge with 8 shot or double odd buck or 6 shot would take those things out in about 2 seconds. Number two, we've done a bunch of drills in schools, and if the assailant fires a gun, if he's close to a fire sensor, the combustion or the compression from the muzzle of that gun could or will set off the fire alarm system, which in turn will close doors. So it's going to block off areas to those doors. If you have a barricaded suspect with hostages in a classroom, the drones don't come into play. If you have an open space and it's deploying pepper spray and there's other children around, we're going to be basically pepper spraying innocent kids. I'm not sure how much blunt force trauma a little piece of plastic is going to do to somebody if they can hit them, because if a shotgun's there, like I said, it's game over. I just don't. I think this is another gadget that people think looks cool, and you got people out of state controlling the response, where I think it's much more important to give the kids the tools, not somebody from a different state the tools, and relying on somebody that's not even within 1,000 miles of your building the responsibility to protect your children. It needs to be boots on the ground. It needs to be tools with the teachers and the kids, and not some high-tech artificial crap. They keep doing drones are great in wartime. They're much bigger than those little things, but inside the school is not Iran. And we got to start looking at what is a school, what's applicable, what's going to actually work, what's going to stop a bullet, not how cool can we have something that looks great on TV. It gets really sickening that this is what people are putting our money into to protect our kids. And in my opinion, it's a false sense of security, and it just looks cool to certain people. And John, you can comment on that.
No, I mean, it's true. And then, I've started diving into a little bit of that, and Jason and I were talking earlier, and I started looking at just the upfront cost. And there again, you're getting into annual subscription. And I know that may sound cheap on, come out of my mouth, but you're talking $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. And then, like Jason was saying, I mean, it was what was it? For every 500 students, it was $4,000 or something like that. It's just another money pit. And like you said, I mean, even if you got drones flying around you, they're not going to stop a bullet. And one shot. I mean, how many active shooters have we had that had a shotgun with them?
The other thing too is we contemplated our suspect identification spray in the vestibules. We originally had pepper spray in those cans, and we were told no by the fire marshal because it would most likely contaminate both innocent people and first responders. So we can't use any irritant in that manner. The other side to it too, it's overcomable by a $20 mask on Amazon. You can put a gas mask on as a shooter, and their pepper spray really isn't going to do anything, or their pepper ball. It's not going to give them the opportunity to inhale it or get in their face. And it's very easily overcomable if you have a tactical mindset on how to if you know those are in there, you can overcome them. That's what I'm saying.
Well, and then, my question too, if the fire marshal says, no, you can't do it because of that, that reason, then how are they getting away with it? I don't know. It'll be interesting for sure.
I'm sure they'll get some sales, and it'll be the first one that doesn't do what it's another empty promise is what it is.
Yeah. Like Jason said a few minutes ago, we're still not giving the kids and the teachers the tools that they need to be safe and do what they need to do until law enforcement arrives. they're still vulnerable.
What are your thoughts, Joker, on the drones? Curious to see what your perception is.
I don't think drones, anything including AI is hackable. I don't put even if the drone user was an expert, he's not a law enforcement expert. He's not going to know tactical. I think it's a horrible idea. I was never on board with that, and I'm a tech geek, so normally I would be on board with some new technology, but there are too many red flags and question marks for me to be on board with that drone thing. I was never on board with that.
So you being, not a background like mine, I'm curious, why do you think these school districts across this nation are spending so much money on artificial intelligence and now drones, and why are they so into saving kids' lives with technology?
Because the mainstream media has AI as our next savior, and it's the new, like you said, it's the new flavor. And let's be honest, the average Joe out there, they don't do their own homework, so they take everything the media tells them as the gospel, and it's sad state of affairs. It really is.
Which kind of brings me back to my point. It makes me think our local newspaper wouldn't even do an article on our install in their local. I thought once we were installed in a district of 17 schools that, Christ, we're going to have the news beating down the doors to what's this district doing, and crickets. And one news channel reached out because we reached out to them, and it's no news channels wanted to pick up that story. But yet you see, advertisements for AI it's just rammed down our throats, and it's kind of telling to me what direction I think. I don't know who they is, but what direction they want school security to go. And to me, it's go after guns and put technology in schools.
Like Lisa just said here, the kids will still be at risk. I don't think, okay, what is the reaction time of a person in control of a drone versus the reaction time of a human on the scene right then and there?
Well, I know when we called drone outs, if we had a barricaded suspect with hostages, or we had some call, we would call the drone team out just for safety to put eyes on, because the drone could fly up right to the window and illuminate the inside of a house, and we could get the positioning. But that was a minimum of a 45-minute call out to get the drone on scene, get the pilot, on scene, because they're trained pilots. You have to actually have a pilot's license to fly those things. You're talking 45 minutes. So it's like using SWAT for a call out. That's a 45-minute call out.
Have you ever seen them pull out one of these cases with the drones in them and have to assemble them? Have you watched how difficult that would be under pressure? Oh, it'd be a disaster.
Yes, and they're assembled prior to the. You still have some assembly, but my biggest problem with my experience has been we set up a perimeter. It's boots on the ground that are controlling the perimeter and containing it, so other resources can come in. And in a school shooting, you don't have time to do that. So even if this off-site pilot center, you're relying on them to be at the ready right now, and if they're not, drones don't leave. And I question, how are they getting notified? Is it AI alerting? Is it shot detection? Is it gun recognition? And then this whole computer system sets off this response? Well, I'm a big believer when it comes to saving somebody's life. I'd rather have sticks and stones than a battery-operated drone. You're going to get further with, I think, old school boots on the ground than technology any day of the week. Because technology can fail.
Back to Joker's comment, one of the things that I read to kind of answer his question is that it's using AI weapon detection software, and the article actually said visible weapon going back, it's not going to pick up a concealed weapon. So, let's just say it is, then somebody has to go back and pull the video, confirm it is or is not a weapon, and then deploy the drone. And I don't know what that, that's going to take some time to do that, granted. But you look at Uvalde, and before he ever gets to the main door, the school's in lockdown. But
put Agent Farmer's message up there. That's actually a good message that I think should resonate with everybody. And the reason I say that is because I agree. It's in the developmental stage. Someday it might be really fantastic, and someday it might be provable to be a good response. But I don't want to use our children today or next year as guinea pigs for that until we get it actually to a point where it is 100% foolproof, 100% hack proof, 100%, trial tested. We're not there yet. And we're putting field trials into schools to protect our children. And to me, that is stupid. If it gets there, fine, do it. But we're not there yet. And who knows how long that'll take.
That's what I told somebody the other day. They was like, you just don't like drones. I'm like, dude, I own one. It's a cheap one, but I like flying it around because I like the technology. But it's like I told him, I was like, I don't mind drones. Do whatever. It's a great idea for law enforcement. We've got 7 of them in our county where they automatically deploy, and the sheriff was talking about an incident where the drone was actually useful in a violation of a restraining order just 2 days ago. I'm all for drones, but when it comes to school security, no.
No, they're great for finding a missing person. We've used them. That's right now where the technology is to find a missing person, either a runaway child or an elderly with dementia. That's awesome. It's also great for a SWAT call out if you need eyes on something, so you're not risking. It's kind of like the same thing as a canine where you send the dog. The dog is a tool. The drone is a tool. Losing a drone is not as emotional as losing a dog, or even not even close to as emotional as losing an officer. So that's where drones are being used now, and that's what they're good at. Until they get good at what this news story we saw, I don't think it's applicable to put a test run into a school to just rely on that alone to keep our kids safe. I think that's an error on the school legislative part or the school decision makers part, because it's not proven yet.
It's like Lisa said several times, people make mistakes. That's what I was saying earlier. I mean, humans make mistakes. I mean, we got parents bitching and raising hell when an officer uses OC spray. And, my kid wasn't involved in the fight. I'm suing. What happens when a drone, pops a kid with a pepper ball or OC spray? And lawsuits are coming.
John had a graph. Do you want me to throw it up there now, or your severity graph? This one.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah. So one of the things I started looking into and trying to my thought process was, how do we grab people's attention? And talking about it or them reading, if it doesn't grab their attention right off the bat, they're not going to read. So I found this, and I come up with my own, because there's really not a risk assessment guide to go by when you're talking about school security. But I think honestly, I'm actually proud of myself for this one. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. But one of the things that I learned is to do the risk assessment. I'm gonna get to my notes here. You've got to look. So the risk in this case is a shooting. So you have to take the threat, the vulnerability, and the consequence. So the threat is the chances and or probability of a shooting. The vulnerability is the chance probability of damage. In this case, it's going to be injury or death. And that also includes mental trauma there in that too. Then you got the consequence, amount of damage or disruption from the threat. So right off the bat, on the consequence, anytime you're going to have a school shooting, I rated that a 5. 5 is as high as you can go. Even if a shot goes off either near a school, beside the school, or inside of the school, to me, that's, I mean, that's, if nothing less, that's mental trauma. To me, that's a 5. I think anybody else would agree with me. So what you do is you take the threat, the chances of it happening. One of the things that I found in doing my research is, for whatever reason, the eastern part of the United States has had more school shootings than the rest of the U.S. So what I did is I put the eastern part.
That's because you guys talk funny.
It ain't got nothing to do with how we talk.
Okay, Karen.
So we'll use the probability. So I used a 3 or a 4. So in the example, I used a 4. So if you use, on the probability side, you've got 4. Well, then you go and you look at the consequence. Well, you got severe. So you multiply 4 times 5 is 20. Then you multiply that by the vulnerability, which, you know, I put in there a 4. When you add all that up, when you multiply all that, you come up with 100. Well, the most you can get is 125 in this risk assessment. 125 is the highest you can get. So you come up with 100 on that. When you throw 3D response in there, then you're bringing down not only the consequence, which is the amount of damage or disruption, but you're also bringing down the vulnerability, which is the injury or death, because you're protecting the kids with the ballistic material, the doors, the ballistic rated doors, the whole system, the notification system. You're bringing 2 of those elements down. So you bring those down with 3D response in the way in how I done this, and I was actually surprised. It brought the risk down 75%. So it went down from 100 to, it was actually 26 was the end number with 3D response, bringing those 2 things down. So I was like, wow. So how can you not explain that and show that to a school administrator or a legislator or a senator or someone like that and say, okay, we can put into words all day long what our system does, and this is how it's going to, protect or mitigate the loss of life. But you throw a chart at them and you say, well, the most you can get is 125. Without our system, it's 100, if not higher. But with our system, you bring it down 75%. I mean, how can you even argue that?
I didn't know where you were going with that. I looked at this graph and I thought, God, John, you're a nerd. But the way you just explained it is amazing. That's I never looked at it that way, to be honest with you. And I'm looking at this graph going now, and I throw the word in prepared, a tactical preparedness. With tactical preparedness, and once we define what school safety is, the highest you can score on this is, what'd you say, like
125 is the highest. That's 5 with all 3. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125.
Okay, what's with 3D? What was the highest with 3D?
So I used the number 3 with the vulnerability and consequence, because you bring those down because of the way the system is designed.
Yep.
And you come up with 26%. Or I'm sorry, you come up with a number of 26.
So 126 vulnerability score versus 125 high end.
No. 125 without 3D, 26 with 3D.
Yeah, that's what I said.
126. No, you said 126.
Okay, shut up, John. What I'm saying is, the point is the threat assessment, because threat assessments in a lot of state are that's part of state law that you have to get a threat assessment done. But it doesn't go on to say, well, how do you address those threat assessments? So
Right.
if you have a chart like that, if that's nationally recognized on that scale, then how do you not do the layers that we put together? And I'd like to actually throw in, here's 3D response, here's drones, here's AI, and what scores do those give, to kind of break it down even further. I think that would be very interesting. And thank you, Ashley.
And like I said, it was mind blowing to me. Like, I didn't think it was going to bring it down that much, but I double checked my math, because I was like, I got to be factual on this.
No, and I will say that legislators like stupid charts and graphs and stuff. I'm not a charts and graphs guy. I'm more of a tactical guy, but I think they could relate to that language.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Nice work, John.
Thank you, Jason.
I knew there was a reason that I wanted you to be a part of this.
No, but seriously, I was like, we've talked and talked. You and Pete and everybody else have talked and talked and talked until you're blue in the face. And no disrespect, but it's like a repeat record. It's like, what else can you say to grab their attention? And I was like, I mean, I like looking at graphs. And when I started doing, like, how do I do risk assessment on something, like school shootings or the potential? Like, how do you do this and use something that's like you said, that is seen across the United States national? And that's what I come up with. I was like, well, damn, this is pretty damn cool.
No, I think that's powerful. I really do. And if I end up flying out there to meet with our friend, that I think that should be thrown in there.
Absolutely.
Did you want to show the tactical breach video?
Oh yeah, I sent that to him. If you're all right with him showing that, Jason.
Yeah, I have no idea what's coming up, but let her rip.
Just so you know, both of your microphones are on there, so if you want to talk through it, go for it.
I'll let Jason do that.
I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh, this one. So these are our doors. This is a SWAT team. The SWAT team that, in my jurisdiction, these are water bags. Basically, I think this is a level 3 ballistic door. All right, so this is a level 3 ballistic door, and this is and we can put these same levels inside of walls where they're not seen at all, and threshold protection. So if an explosive breach, which is basically what you're seeing now, a lot of times SWAT guys will use explosive breaches for entries. So I think this is a level. I missed what it said there, but it goes up in increments here.
The first one was a 3.
Was this a 5?
It had UL 8.
Oh, okay. So if that was a normal door, that door is blowing up on the backside with shrapnel, chunks of wood at 100 miles an hour. Just thousands of projectiles destroying that room.
Yeah, I mean, look at the 4x6 post. I mean, it moves them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the frame's going to give away before the door. Yeah, that was UL 8. So that, I keep saying that if shit hit the fan, I'm going to one of the schools we're installed in, because you're not going to get in those rooms. You're safe. And that's the type of level we should be giving our kids. Is if we want to keep them safe, I'm sorry, I am in favor of hardening schools. You don't have to see that it's hardened. You can make it cosmetically educational, but you can protect our kids. So if an intruder is in there, I don't need a drone. I want cover, concealment, and internal communication, and I want everybody to be safe. So those are our doors. It's pretty impressive. And walls.
Yeah. And Linda, I saw your comment. I don't think anybody has used explosives to do that. What is basically just demonstrating is the effectiveness of what we use inside the school.
Actually, Harrison Klebold did. They set up propane tanks on timers to explode.
Right. I forgot about that.
There's also been pipe bombs that have been discovered in bathrooms on secondary searches. So there has been.
I'm no expert, but I think Ashley's right. If an individual explosion can't get in, neither can a gun. that's the point that was supposed to be made.
Right.
Correct.
Is there any closing thoughts you want to disclose?
I think for me, it's we gotta, and I agree with this. At some point, AI and all this technology might or may not ever be the answer. But right now, in the world we live in, it's not. And we need to stop spending money on shit we don't know that's going to be effective or not. The other side to it too is I'm in the midst of putting together a branch of LLC. We just dropped off the application for our license, but public schools have the opportunity to get school resource officers. Not every local law enforcement agency can supply the resource for those school cops. So private schools are kind of left in the dark. So we're putting together basically it's a school liaison, a school response liaison is what we're calling it. SRO is trademarked. We're going to bring in former police and or military. We are going to train them in combination with NASRO on what the role of a school resource officer is. It's not just a gun on campus. It's a relationship building. It's a teacher. It's a speaker. It's a big brother, a big sister, and it's also a response on campus. And we're going to provide that opportunity to private schools and public schools that their local law enforcement doesn't have the resources to provide. So there's a missing gap there, and it's unfair. One educational setting gets the opportunity, but another one doesn't. And I think every school should have the opportunity to have not armed security, but a school liaison in their building that's trained to do so, and will follow, state guidelines plus the NASRO guidelines, because that is the threshold for an officer to be in your school. So I'm excited about this, and I always believe that the best combination for school safety is the 3D response system installed in your school with the combination of a school cop in your school. If you have those two things, in my opinion, based on my experience, you have done everything you could to protect those children as much as you can, and that's where we're going. So that should be, hopefully we get approved by the state, and we already got a couple positions lined up for this starting in September, and I think that'll be a good thing for schools. So I'm going to land her there.
Yeah, if I can, I want to throw out a little teaser for next Tuesday. I'm currently working on a PowerPoint about the dreaded discussion Jason loves to have about arming teachers and civilians. So I should have that done here in the next few days, but we'll go over that next Tuesday.
I might skip that week.
Go on vacation.
I just got back from vacation.
I know. There's a teaser for next Tuesday.
Well, thanks, Joker.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Any closing comments from you?
No. Good
Why?
show. Because I really don't have anything to say.
Well, it's good to see me.
It's always good. I'm always glad you guys got to see me.
Oh my God! Yeah,
You're welcome.
Stroke his ego, Joker. Stroke his ego.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Next week.
Thank you
5 o'clock,
all
Tuesdays.
for watching and listening.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Oh, Bailey, fix. Oh, baby. Oh, Bailey, fix. Oh, Bailey, fix. Oh, baby. I want my Bailey fix. really fits. Static in the wire, power in the vein. Plug in the jack, just a numb brain. 010, yeah.
Look around you. The world isn't as quiet as they want you to believe. In the dead of night, the shadows stretch, the frequencies warp, and the truly bizarre leaks into reality. You've seen things you can't explain. You've heard the whispers in the woods, witnessed the lights dancing in the upper atmosphere, and felt your hair stand up when you thought you were completely alone. Stop keeping it to yourself. Welcome to the Electric Circus. Your hosts, the Joker and Drax, are unlocking the phone lines and pulling back the curtain on the absolute unknown. This isn't a lecture. This is your platform. We want the raw, unfiltered truth. I don't think it's human. It's standing right outside my window. From skinwalker encounters to shadow figures to UFO cover-ups and cryptids stalking the tree lines. If it's odd, unexplainable, or downright terrifying, we're asking for you to call us live. No judgment, just the truth. The studio line will be wide open. The Joker's wild, so smile and dial! Punch the numbers and save them in your phone. Call 386-227-7284. That is 386-227-7284. His Majesty's madness gives all things strange and weird a home. Break the silence. Tell the Joker and Drax what you saw before the signal goes dead.
So you care about the safety of children and their lives, right? Well, listen to this. In 1958, 92 children and 3 teaching nuns died in a fire at Our Lady of the Angels School in Chicago. It led to a nationwide reform of fire safety in schools. Since then, not one child has died from a school fire. The same principle should be applied today. The issue of school shooters is still a problem.
Off a gunman shooting down at these students.
As, of course, we now learn about even more school shootings.
And our Brittany Ehrman found they aren't building schools like they used to for this very reason.
The definition of school safety in today's day and age previously had not yet been defined.
With Minnesota-based 3D Response Systems.
One of the pushbacks we hear is we don't want our schools to look like a prison. In reality, our system is completely hidden so you don't lose that learning environment feel.
3D Response Systems is a multi-layered design to get the police there faster and provide tools for the people inside to survive.
I went there as a skeptic. I'm not a skeptic any longer.
Why isn't this in every school?
Because the loss of even one child's life is one too many.
But let's get this word out and make sure that we support folks like Representative Hudson and 3D Response System. And wherever you are, whatever state you're in, go talk to your school board, go talk to your state representative. Tell them about this.
For information, or if you would just like to help, download our info sheet PDF located under the Systems
The
tab.
3D Response Systems design will provide safe spaces and a rapid response from first responders.
We should install in every school, public and private.
Yeah.